Logitech M705 left mouse button doesn't stay down when pressed. I'm nearly sure that this is only solvable by replacement of the device, but I'd like to vent the issue. About 9 months ago I got a nice Logitech M705 mouse, which inspired me to add paging via scroll wheel to my MUP, and now I think I wouldn't like it any other way. Well, back to the present. The symptoms are that the left mouse button can't be held down. It'll emit multiple button release and press events when pressed down and more when released. This makes drag and drop impossible. I've opened the mouse and verified that it has the same problem even when the actual button is pressed by hand, and that it's not due to any damage nor dirt. What's funny is that the scroll wheel and the right button work as they should, producing only one press event when pressed and one release event when released. Due to that, I know that it isn't a problem with anything in my computer, as if it was you'd think it would affect the right mouse button too. And it's not a problem with the wireless, as the mouse tracks nicely, although it doesn't track as good on worn particle board, which is uneven due to water exposure as this Logitech M705, but that's a wired USB mouse. And I can see the extra button events using ZEF. These only appear when the left button is pressed but not the right. For that, it gives the perfect response of one press event when pressed and one release event when released. So if it's not my laptop nor the wireless, and it doesn't affect the right button or the wheel nor the tracking, it must be that I broke in some weird way the left mouse button switch. I did find that someone else had this issue with this mouse. I've recently encountered problems with the left mouse button not staying closed when I hold it down. Trying to drag things across the screen becomes a major malfunction when the button lets go. I have no idea where the icon was just dropped. Taking the mouse apart and blowing it out thoroughly seemed to resolve the issue, but why did I need to do that to a 6-month-old mouse in the first place? And how long before the problem comes back? From this URL. That's what made me think that it could have been a dirt issue, but I didn't find that helped.
Well, the best way to solve this would be to return the device, as it's supposed to have a 3-year warranty. The micro switch is obviously damaged, and all basic solutions would require you to attempt to modify it or its circuit. From your text, I can't see if it shows multiple clicks when the switch itself is held pressed. If it doesn't, then you could try to solve the problem by adding something between the switch itself and the button, which would increase the pressure on the switch, but it won't be a long-term solution. In situations such as this, the switch is already sparking too much and the contacts are probably already damaged with tendency to get worse, so even if this helps, it won't be a long-term solution. If the switch opens even while held pressed, then a little bit of some sort of contact cleaner could be helpful if there's a way to actually insert it inside the switch, but that could be difficult since most of those switches aren't constructed with ability to be opened in mind. If you happen to have a similar switch, you could try to replace the whole switch, but then you'd probably lose the warranty, in case something similar happens again.
I had the same problem with the left button of my M705, and it turned out that it was indeed caused by a bad contact in one of the micro switches, an Omron D2FCF7N, which contained a copper part that was oxidized. I managed to fix this issue by opening the switch and removing the oxide from the contact pad. Here's how to do it. First, open the mouse. To do this, you need to remove the 5 screws that hold together the housing. 3 of them are located under the black contact pads on which the mouse glides. The pads are just glued so you can remove them by pulling, and 2 are on the bottom of the battery compartment. Open the housing of the defective microswitch by inserting the tip of a sharp knife or screwdriver into the slit between the black, upper part of the housing and the dark gray, lower part, first pushing the upper part slightly to the side and then upwards. In the switch there is a small copper plate that connects to a contact pad on the lower part of the switch when the button is pressed down. Remove the plate by gently pulling it first to the side and then up. There is a small bump on the bottom right side of the plate that makes a contact with the lower part of the switch. Both the bump on the plate and its counterpart on the switch will probably be covered with a dark, bluish oxide that we want to remove. To do this, use a knife or a rasp to slightly roughen up the surface until it appears shiny and bright again. Then put all parts back into place and close the switch and the mouse. Now the switch should again establish a reliable electric contact when pressed down, at least until it reoxidizes. Alternatively, you could just replace the whole microswitch by a new one, which should cost less than a few dollars but is much less fun, of course. Smile. Also, before you jump into repairing your mouse, check if it's still under warranty, and if so, consider having it replaced by Logitech, since opening it up will usually void its warranty. This procedure should also be applicable to other mice that contain the same microswitch, most notably to Logitech G series, Apple's 3g, 4g, 5g series, some Razer mice and Microsoft's IntelliMouse Optical.